So, the note B. Bzz. I'm going to show you the fingering for the note B. Saxophones, your left hand, just put where your index finger is. That's all you got to press down is that one note, and it's a B. There you go, a B. Because, I don't know why. Anyway, so that's the B, and during this video when I show you what things to do, just play that note for now. That's a good note. So next, we're gonna go over tonguing. I was describing, here, just try blowing into your. If you guys have your instrument with you right now, you guys try blowing into your instrument. So remember, get the right mouth position. Now, the problem if you put it to your mouth and just go through the air. Because it's just air. You're just throwing all that air into the between the mouthpiece and reed. Hey. What I want you guys to do is to make sure that the sound isn't just like blatting out the air. It needs to be a bit more percussive. And with the focused. That's it. Thank you, cameraman. That's the word I was trying to look for. Focused. I want well, when I'm going to show you tonguing, it'll make it a lot more a focused sound, because I'm going to show you if you have the reed, you're just throwing air, blah, okay. But if you tongue, this is basically what tonguing is. Boom! You see my arm right here? This is the reed and the mouthpiece. Okay? Can you imagine? Use your imagination. And let's say this is my tongue. What you're gonna do when you tongue, it's very simple. It involves your tongue. Is before what I want you to do you don't just push in all the air. You you hit the reed with your tongue, and then all the air starts coming. But remember, I want the tongue like it's just like you're saying ta on the saxophone. Ta. And what I want you to make sure is that you don't start the air before you tongue. I want all of you put your saxophone in your mouth and have put your tongue up against your reed, and then start blowing the air, and then release your tongue, kind of like a ta, and then all the air, boom, starts rushing out. This way, the air is focused. It's a more focused sound going through the reed and the mouthpiece. So instead of blurting out all the air, I want it to be tongued. Good. So remember that. Put your tongue, once you get your mouth in the position, then put your tongue against the reed, and then you release it and all the air comes. So I want you to do. Next, that's that. You guys can just practice that. Next, which we're going to be using tonguing. Whenever you have music, you're going to be tonguing the notes. We'll get into more things later on. Next, the last thing as far as playing the saxophone, I want to make sure you guys remember. Also, I was going to describe for you guys your mouth position. I want to make sure that your lower lip isn't too tight against the reed, otherwise that can, get too tight against the bottom reed, otherwise that cuts off the vibrations. So make sure your bottom lip is up against the reed, but very lightly, very, very lightly. Anyway, next, a big thing I want you guys to understand the concept of is tonguing. We're going to tongue right now some quarter notes. I want you to tongue one way, where you're tonguing with space in between each note, and the other way, tonguing without any space, which means there's a constant airflow. So first, one way is where it's just tonguing with space. So I'm going to count off 1, 2, ready, and then ta, 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 ta. So I'm going to tongue, okay? So like this. 1, 2. Good, so remember each time it's ta, 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 ta. Oh, but by the way, real quick, tongue. Just tongue a note. But what I want to make sure you don't do is that when you tongue it, I don't want your tongue to come back ta and cut off the sound. I don't want your tongue to hit it and then come back and cut off the sound, because otherwise it sounds like this. Here at the end it's kind of closed. I want when you do that one tongue, you just ta and keep your tongue down and just let the air go out and stop, you know, blowing air. But whatever you do not let your tongue stop through it. It's just ta, and then your air just, you don't, when you go ta, you never go ta. You just go ta. So instead of or closed, I want it to release. Here, okay. Anyway, next, if you guys, so that's it. So I'm gonna count off, and we're gonna tongue chord notes like I did before. And I want them to be separated like this: 1, 2. Okay, so that's that. A second way I want you guys to be able to tongue is to keep on tonguing notes, but without any space. Instead of where's that space in between, I want constant airflow. So your tongue is still going ta, 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 but your air is constantly going. Instead of ta, ta, it's ta, 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 ta. Like this. What? Here it's still ta, ta, but the air is constantly going. So I want you guys to practice those two different ways. If you guys are having trouble trying to differentiate, if you're having trouble playing both style, one where there's space in between each note, and then one where there's no space, I did come up with an interesting way of helping you with this. You can use your imagination, which is the best way when you're trying to solve problems such as this. So it's kind of a hard concept. Let's say you want to tongue with the space. What I do is I'll imagine that I'm King Kong. Do you guys know King Kong, the big gorilla? Or, well, does he go like this? He's more like rah! But he's a gorilla, dude. Giant King Kong. Anyways, really big. And I imagine him, let's say he's going around rampaging the city on a rampage, and he's just destroying everything. But he does stomps, right? So like this. Right? It's kind of like that, and he's roaring, right? But let's say, since we're trying to have this go along with the saxophone, let's say his roar is ta! That's what King Kong says. Ta! And so let's say he's going around rampaging the city, and this is what he's like. Ta! 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 Now, do you notice how the tas are separated? There's space in between. Let me demonstrate again. Ta! Ta! Rah! Ta! Rah! Woo! Woo! Ta! 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 Great! Now do that on your saxophone. You're gonna put it up, and just like you're saying the ta, but with your saxophone. And I want you to imagine you're King Kong stomping on a rampage, like this. Okay? That's it separated. Where the note, in between the notes, there's space. No sound. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is to do it the other way, where there's constant air going. So there is no space where, you know, and how this will help you is, imagine you're King Kong again, but this time you're not free on a rampage destroying things. Instead, you're chained down. If you remember, there's a part in the movie where, you know, they capture King Kong and they're going to show him off to the audience. But he's strapped down, he's got chains, and he can't move at all. But he's angry, and he's still roaring and trying to stomp, but he can't move. So you can't have that percussive stomp, stomp, Stop. He's really angry.